Iron Claw stars Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, and it's in theaters this weekend, guys. And I gotta tell you, the acting, of course, is a standout, but Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White are the standouts here. It's about a group of brothers that wrestle, right? It's got Lily James in it there as well. But the immediate standout is that brotherhood, that grouping of them, of the four brothers, kind of like trying to survive their family and their father, basically, that's driving them to get in the ring. The Iron Claw, the true story of the inseparable Von Erich brothers who made history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. And yeah, you can see the four brothers there. I really liked that aspect of it, the family aspect of like, yeah, these four brothers, they're tight. And they grow up under the stern, I guess, tutelage or fathership of their old man, played by Holt McCallany. You guys will recognize this dude. He's played a lot of bad guys in the past. You'll recognize his face. So he plays the old man, and this is the best work that I've seen from him too, because he's got some dramatic chops. Oh yeah, he was in. He's the one. They killed Bob. They shot him in the head. Well, what did you think was going to happen? Anyway, he was that guy in Fight Club. He played the father role in this, and Moira Turney played the mother. Harris Dickinson played the older brother. Cast was really well done, but as I said, the standouts are Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White. They brought it, man. They brought it. And this movie is 2 hours and 12 minutes, but when you come out of it, you're like, you feel bad, because if you don't know the tragedy, basically they slowly die. The brothers die off due to different other reasons. And some of them are really just mishaps, accidents, kind of thing that you wish that, okay, you're bleeding, dude. Go get checked out from the doctor. No, I'm fine. That kind of stuff, right? And then it's kind of like, well, no, you're not fine. And it's kind of like, well, how does this family deal with it? And the father is just kind of like digs into his traditional upbringing kind of style, and that kind of almost fractures the family a little bit, right? It's kind of like, well, you're a man, stand up for yourself. You don't behave like this. You don't cry, and you push through everything, right? And that kind of you can see that wear on Zac Efron's face throughout this movie. There's that doubt, there's that despair that comes in about halfway through when the brothers start dying. It's kind of like there's a pain constantly behind his eyes, and Zac Efron dialed into that masterfully. That's the way I felt, and I'm like, where's this dude been? It's like, what? This is the role that's going to make him, like, hopefully people will be like, okay, we're going to give you more dramatic roles because of this. He carries it, man, and he does a great job. You feel sorry for him too, because he's like, well, my family's cursed. He's together with Lily James, but it's kind of like he's worried that this curse is going to like spill over to his own family, right? It does a great job of capturing all of that. So that's where I rank the Iron Claw. Let's go over into my preliminary score sheet and see where some of these numbers start to fill in. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of a possible 1 point each. Cinematography, if it's well shot, it's 0.5. If it's got a serviceable score in the background, it's 0.5. And they both had that. So acting, as I said, Zac Efron was good, and so was Jeremy Allen White, and so was the father. Harris Dickinson was also really good, but because I really hope Zac Efron gets some kind of recognition for this from awards. I just think he's going to get buried by the token ship nominees, which kind of sucks because he's really good. He's really good in this, guys. And he does some embarrassing stuff, like having to walk around in his tighty whities for a couple of scenes in the movie, and it's like, oof, oof, oof. Anyway, directing. Competent directing. As I said, things are framed right. The pacing, you think that 2 hour runtime would be a bit of an issue, but I felt like it moved fairly smooth. There wasn't like a lull in here where we're like, okay, just move on. I want to see what's going on. There's nothing like that. The pacing was well done. So based on that, I would say 1.5 for the directing. Story, also compelling about the Von Erichs. Now, I'm not a historian here, guys, so I can't tell you exactly how accurate it was. But when there's a scene in here where they do have some recognizable fighters, like Ric Flair that comes in. And the guy that they got for Ric Flair, he does the strut and stuff like that. He does a woo like that. That got me back, Aaron. That got the nostalgia, right? Because that's if you. I was a young man growing up in the late '80s, early '90s. So I knew the wrestling stuff, and that brought me back. That was just a little bit of fun for me. But on top of that, if you're there, the dramatic elements of this film should be enough to sink their claws into you. The iron claw, guys. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was cheesy, James. But yeah, cinematography, well done. Score, like the fight. You know what? I'm gonna give cinematography a full point because there's stuff in the arena that's really well shot. The score, as I said, was serviceable. So we're sitting at about a 6.5 right now. Let me see if I can use that trailer to show you a little bit of highlights of stuff going on in the ring, of how well it was shot. Because it's not like a normal wrestling match where you got to have a static camera outside the ring. They were able to go in tight and bring you shots like this kind of thing. And it's like, wow, these guys put in the work to actually go into the ring and learn all of these moves, how to bounce off the buckles and stuff like that properly, right? Because you can, like, even though there's the guy that plays the Ric Flair. Even though that's like you're pseudo fake, you can still hurt yourself not doing things properly, right? The way that you would land on your shoulders and stuff like that, or you accidentally connect with too hard with something. These guys put in their work, and I would like to see behind the scenes stuff of them training for this, because that would be great. Sean Durkin directs, yeah. And this final shot here in the trailer of the brothers coming together and hugging, it's like there's a bunch of tragedy that also happens, but it's also kind of like, well, that's life. But it comes around for Zac Efron's character. It does. Okay, so let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying about this. The Iron Claw, 87% by critics, 93% by the audience. So it's high up there, guys. And as I said, we're poised to be in that ballpark for sure. Let's go down and see what the snapshot reviews are saying and see if we agree with them. Let's take a look at the Chicago Reader, who didn't like it. If you're going to see a shallow movie, do it for shallow reasons. What are you talking about? Shallow movie? No, this is about brotherhood. This is about being raised and trying to stay the course of what your family patriarch lays out for you, isn't it? No? What are you talking about? New York Post didn't like it. Watching the Iron Claw can feel like getting slammed with a metal folding chair over and over again. No. Yeah, it's sad. Because that's what happened to the family, dude. What are you talking about? CTV Your Morning says, admirably restrained way, perhaps to a fault, while avoiding the tendency to milk every ounce of emotion or sensationalize the Von Erichs' tragedy. Durkin also misses the opportunity to say anything meaningful about their story. No, I think he does. I think he totally does. Because there's an arc there where Zac Efron is like the headstrong kind of, I do whatever my father tells me. I get up in the morning, I run, I train, I work hard, I believe what the old man was selling me. And then, he goes on to think about the curse and stuff like that, and he comes around to it all and just kind of learns to accept it, right? And go back with his family. And you can see that because of that, he has a really ripe future. But he was born out of turmoil and the tragedy of what happened to his family, kind of thing, right? I thought it was handled well. I did. So I disagree with some of these reviews here. Let's take a look at somebody else here. The days of underestimating Zac Efron are over. Yeah, I would say. Well, we know that he can do the comedy like Neighbors and stuff like that. But this is more. This is the more kind of work that I want to see from Zac Efron for sure. Okay, one more final one. Metro Weekly didn't like it. A soulful, central performance by Zac Efron can't fill out the dead air otherwise wafting through the Iron Claw. No, I don't. I disagree. I totally disagree because, as I said, there's stuff in there like about the brothers and the father and even the mother, who seems played by Moira Turning, because they were raised in a different era. They look at parenting in a much different way, and that's perfectly conveyed in this movie. I like this movie, guys. I liked it a lot. So let's go over to the score sheet and round it up and see where I finally land on this. Watchability factor. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll want to check it out. If you're a Zac Efron fan, you want to check it out. So you want to see it at least once in the theater. But guys, I would watch this totally again. So that's 1.5 right there, right? 1.5. And I would be, you know what? I would even say that I would own this on Blu-ray. I'd add this to my collection because it's just that well done. 8.5 out of 10 for the Iron Claw. Yeah. Oh, no, James. I forgot. I wanted to mention this. I said that the score was serviceable, and it was. It was serviceable. But, this movie has a good soundtrack. The difference I use between score and soundtrack are that the score is kind of like the musical orchestral kind of stuff, but the soundtrack is like musical needle drops. And if you are from this era or you like 80s music, the needle drops in this are awesome. Really awesome. Like when they're walking up to this, to the arenas and stuff like that, when they're getting into the ring, even in like stuff like this, when one of the brothers is riding off on his motorcycle. It's effective, man. So I am going to quickly change my score for the score value. And this is that going to bump it up to a 9? I think it will. Yes, it will. 9 out of 10 for 9 out of 10 for the Iron Claw. Yeah, that's it. That's where I stand. 9 out of 10. I liked it, man. It was a real fun time. Well, not fun time. It was just one of those movies where it's kind of like, when you're done watching it, that's a good movie. And I'm in that wheelhouse there, guys, with everybody else. I'm a little bit higher than the critics. I'm in between the critics and the audience score there. 9 out of 10 for me, for the Iron Claw. What did you guys think? If you saw it, let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. If you like this kind of stuff. Later on today, my review for Rebel Moon will be up on the channel. We're doing that one next. So pay attention to that. We just went from a good movie to a bad movie. So I'll leave a link to that up in the cards there for you guys to follow. But if not, hey, come join us here on Mirror Domains Movie News. We do lots of cool stuff here. We do movie news, live shows. There are my other social medias. So come join us for that. And see you next time on Mirror Domains. All right, let's take some live comments here. Pfeiffer's there in the live chat. Whoops. Pfeiffer says, Iron Claw was top film of 2023 for me, Pfeiffer says. Yeah, it's good, man. It is emotionally, for maybe it's because I just knew some of the wrestlers and stuff like that, right? What it did for me, it made me want to go back right after it and go on YouTube and find the real matches, right? And watch them. I believe you believe in the Von Erich curse? Yeah. Yeah, it just sucks, man. But I like the brotherhood relationship. I do. And I felt that was very effective. There's an article up on Joe Blow that I pulled for this. Wrestlers that deserve a biopic. Well, we know that we're getting a Hulk Hogan biopic with Chris Hemsworth playing the Hulkster. I don't know how that's going to work. I hope they go into dealing with the steroids, because apparently Hulk was uh, Hogan was the guy that you went to get that stuff. He admits that, right? He fully admits that. But let's see what else. Who else? Who would you guys like to see a biopic of a wrestler? Georges, uh, Gorgeous George. Okay, so he was just before my time, I think. Chris Benoit. Now he was after my time. He was after I stopped watching. Um, I stopped watching as Undertaker and Kane were just coming onto the scene. I think I watched maybe 1 or 2 years with Undertaker. Yeah, because I liked him in the Royal Rumbles and stuff like that. Benoit was just coming in around the time that I was starting to get out, I think. Uh, yeah, some of them will have tragic story. He had a tragic story, right, Benoit? After taking shots to the head, yeah, brain damage, and that's what you're going to see. Eddie Guerrero. Don't remember him. The Fabulous Moolah. Don't know that. Brian Danielson. The one that I'm worried that they're showing is one of the Hart brothers, right? That's another tragic one. Bret Hart. Yeah, the Hart Foundation. Owen, right? He fell. Um, yeah, that's another one. That would be a tough watch. Macho Man, yeah. But the thing is who are you gonna find to play Macho Man to do that? Oh yeah, cup of coffee. Come, yeah, how would you do that? I can't do that voice because I would wreck my vocal cords. No, I can't do it. Roddy Piper. Yeah, he was. I grew up watching Macho Man and Roddy Piper. Ric Flair. Yeah, and it was what was cool about the Iron Claw movie was that you could see that they were struggling with the showmanship of it all, right? And then when you got somebody like Flair, who could sell it, he knew what he was. He knew that he wasn't the biggest, strongest guy, but he had the clout, the arrogance, and that's what Ric Flair was really good at doing, right? And the guy who played him did a great job of capturing that too. As I said, when he does the strut, it's just like, yeah, that's him. Yeah, Hulk Hogan. We know we're getting that one. Is that it? Hmm. Uh, Pfeiffer says he wants Dusty Rhodes. Ventura. That one would be juicy too. Jesse Ventura biopic. Uh, Jesse the Body Ventura, because he started wrestling, and then he went to commentating with McMahon, right? And then they had a bit of a falling out, and that got spicy, right? Between him, it actually got really bitter between Ventura and McMahon. So yeah, there's some stories there to tell for sure. All right, guys, do we have one? No, we can start talking about some box office results here. But this article first, because we're going to be talking about Aquaman. Peter Safran gives update on Momoa's DCU future. Well, we know that James Gunn and James Gunn is taking over and rebooting the DCU, and Peter Safran is also going to be on board with that, helping to do that. So he was asked about Momoa from The Independent, and all he responded was with, "We'll see what happens with his role as Aquaman in the DCU." However, Safran has kept the door open to future roles, noting that Momoa always had a home at Warner Bros. We'll see what happens with him beyond it. I know that Jason will always have a home at DC and Warner Bros. In fact, his next movie is Minecraft, says Safran. If it if it's the end of the journey, fine. If it goes on, that's also fine. What I hope is that people will really be here to support him on his journey. While people still think that Momoa is going to be Lobo, although we got that report last week where almost from Saffron or like other producers is like that may not be the case, guys. And it all depends on how well Aquaman 2 did at the box office, right? So let's get into that now. It's Tuesday. Wow, it doesn't even feel like Tuesday, but Monday was Christmas. So we're going to take a look at the weekend's box office report that will get adjusted